Hello, everyone. I am Aaron St. Denis at FF Mad Scientist, and that is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. And welcome to the Fantasy Football Universe. And we are back with another rookie sneak peek for the 2024 draft class. And since we're going from, ECR or ADP, whatever you want to call it, starting at the top, surprise, surprise, we have another receiver. It seems like it's all receivers and all quarterbacks, and that's it. I think Brock Bowers fits in here at some point this week, but I've been looking at some ADPs and mock drafts, and it's like the only running back taken in the first round was Travion Henderson. The next one is Jonathan Brooks in like the second round. This is ugly. This is not the year. You need a running back. I was telling a buddy at work that he doesn't need a quarterback. He doesn't need a receiver. He has the 101. I said, screw it. Trade him Marvin Harrison and go get yourself a running back because you're not getting a running back this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I had somebody who was like, I'm at the 103. Is it too early to reach for running back? And I go, absolutely. Do not. Whatever you do not do that. And then I said the guys listed. I said, go get the young stud running backs that trade for them, but do not draft them.
Trade Marvin Harrison for Bijan or something.
Yeah, exactly like that.
All right, today we have LSU wide receiver Malik Nabers. So another early first round pick going here. Wide receiver out of LSU, like I said, he's from Youngsville, Louisiana, and was a 4-star recruit out of Southside High School. As a freshman, he set the tone for the player to the tune of 28 receptions, 417 yards, and 4 TDs, highlighted by a 143-yard performance in Week 9 against Louisiana Monroe. Not the greatest competition there. Next year in 2022, he proved he was a formidable player as he almost doubled his production of his future teammate, or his teammate and future NFL wide receiver. I guess we're using the term loosely, Kayshon Boutte. Nabers had 72 receptions, 1,014 yards, and 4 TDs again. In his final season at LSU in 2023, he had a great season for the history books. 89 receptions, 1,569 yards, and 14 touchdowns. So he finally got his way into the damn end zone. He's obviously established himself here as one of the elites. I don't think he's going to challenge Marvin Harrison. I think Harrison, MHJ, is pretty much the consensus wide receiver one, but he is a pretty solid wide receiver too. And I don't think it's so weird because like between him and Harrison, I feel like there's a huge gap in value, but I don't think the gap in talent is that big. Like it's easily Marvin Harrison Jr., but no. Nabers is pretty fucking good too, man.
Nabers, he's nasty. Like you watch him on tape, I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but the thing about Nabers is he explodes. Like he's a different level of like acceleration when you watch him. It's terrifying. Nasty. He's amazing to watch. I love him.
He doesn't have the size of Marvin Harrison. We'll get into his measurables here. He's 6 feet tall. 6 feet even, 36th percentile, 200 pounds on the dot. So he's right on the dot for everything. 46th percentile. He's a little younger. He's 20 and a half years old. He was a junior. So like, what was Marvin Harrison? 6'4", 225, 6'4", 220.
I think he's a little smaller, but yeah, he's definitely a lot taller.
Oh, I don't know. I think the 6'4" for sure. He's a beast.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, weight, not height. Sorry.
Oh, you're right. 6'4", 205. So he's taller and a little lankier. So for some reason, I thought he was 225. But so you're right. So weight wise, so it might actually, I don't know. Like I love the 6'4", but the 6 feet and essentially the same weight, they seem to be built better. Like I don't know if I necessarily love the big lanky ones, but
you'll love the Dunes because he's a giant. But
yeah. There's someone not later, but there's another prospect. And I'll have to look. We haven't gotten into him. He's probably a rookie draft wide number 2 or a second round pick. And I forget who it was, but I looked at him like, this dude is a fucking monster. I'm like, I don't even if I knew nothing about this monster. And I want him just because he's like fucking huge, but I forget who it was off the top of my head. So what do you think about Nabers here? I guess we'll get into it.
I think he's an awesome prospect. If you watch him on tape, he literally just jumps out at you. Like, when you're sitting down to watch tape and certain guys jump out the screen, he fits that definition to a T. Like he lulls defenders to sleep, and he really is his transition ability to move in and out of breaks and like go into fifth gear from first gear is just like lightning. So like he'll be going on a go route and he just sort of burns a guy. It's really weird and it's wild to watch. It's just terrifying the things he can do on the field. But his production's awesome.
I'm looking over some of the notes here and I'm like, oh wow, Jesse, he really knows his stuff. It's like he read them. I'm like, oh, written by Jesse Moeller. Okay. So
I might have put some on it.
If you like his entire written breakdown for Malik Nabers, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com where it will be released at the same time as this video. That would be the 19th. We're recording on the 18th, but this one I think is coming out Friday the 19th with the article at 10 a.m. So I had what you had. So you have some of his strengths we'll go through. Explosive ability is terrifying. He seemingly shifts gears to leave defenders in the dust. That's the thing I noticed. He is fucking explosive. Great ability to track the ball and can translate into success downfield in the NFL. Great yak ability. Open field running is a problem for opposing defenses. He's good at reading defenses and can put himself in position and, read the coverages properly. And he's very versatile and has great spatial awareness. So that's, I didn't notice. I mean, I will get into weaknesses. There were things he didn't do well, but he does a lot of things really, really well. So
yes, he's a very complete wide receiver. Like there's not a lot of things like, oh, he does that bad. It's usually like you're checking off all the good things with him.
Like, this is one where it's like he feels like he should be a consensus wide receiver 1. And the fact that he's the consensus 2, it's like, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. This is like the second day in a row where I've been down on Marvin Harrison Jr. And it's not that I'm down on him. It's just that like this wide receiver class is awesome. Even Adunzi, who we do tomorrow, he's pretty fucking good. Like, I think these two are a clear tier to themselves. And then Adunzi's probably in the next tier, but
yeah, like for me, I'm really big on Adunzi, so he's closer to these guys. But yeah, I think it's a 1A, 1B with Harrison and Nabers. Like Nabers is an awesome prospect. And like you're saying, if it was a random wide receiver room, like 20, like 18 or something, he'd probably be the wide receiver 1. But the fact we have Marvin Harrison Jr., he gets pushed down to wide receiver 2. And that's just, great people who are drafted in the 104, like 106 range. It's an awesome pick to get.
We'll get into a couple of the weaknesses you did point out. If he wants to become a true X receiver, he's got to develop a more various or wide range of like a route tree. His route tree has to be more varied. He runs like the routes he would need to be an X. He's not running them as efficiently and as often. Time to time, he suffers from concentration drops. He needs to clean that up. Hopefully that's something he can be coached into, and he needs to improve his release to avoid being pressed by corners at the line of scrimmage. What are your thoughts there? What really stood out? Is there any of those just like minor marks for you, or was there anything where you said, wow, these are like, he's really terrible at this?
No, I don't think he's really terrible at anything. And like particularly, I wouldn't worry too much about him being like pressed to the line of scrimmage just because teams don't do it that often. And if it is an issue, they'll do what they did with Devonta Smith. They'll get them off the line of scrimmage, or they'll Jordan Addison. They did this. They put him in the flanker and they just line him off the line of scrimmage so they can't get pressed. So like teams can work around that issue. But like if he does want to be the traditional X, right? Part of this is LSU's like the routes they were running. They didn't really need to do it. So like that's not something he worked on that much. So he gets in with a good wide receiver room. Like I'm fully confident he can expand his route tree and be one of the better wide receiver prospects we've seen.
All right. You have him projected as a top 10 pick going to the Chargers as his ideal landing spot. I'm looking and I didn't know where to pick. Like, I feel like every receiver and quarterback that comes up, everyone says, well, he's got to go 2 or 3 to Washington or New England, or even I guess Arizona, but Washington, New England, Arizona, and like there's 4 in a row here who all need receivers. And I feel like I'm getting lazy and saying the same thing. Well, he's going to go to 2, 3, 4, or 5. Like, I feel like I don't know, does that seem high? Like, I thought 2 to 5 seemed a little high for Harrison. So to say he's going top 5, I'm trying to look. So the Giants, I don't think they take a receiver. You see maybe the Titans at 7?
They both need wide receivers, so it wouldn't shock me. But like for landing spots, I was thinking like the best fit as far as like having a good quarterback.
No, I get you.
But yeah, like he could very much end up with the Giants or the Titans. Like they need those guys there, so I could 100% see that. It's just the teams in front desperately need quarterbacks. So like I'm not going to put him there because I expect them to go quarterback.
I could even see like there's a ton of teams in the top 10 here. Like I don't think, with the exception of, I don't think Atlanta takes him. But like Chicago has 2 picks. I could see Chicago. Even at 10, the Jets, if the Jets don't, go drop a bag on Devontae Adams, I could see him going there to be paired up with Garrett Wilson. I think 11, Minnesota's the first team I don't think takes a receiver. Same with Denver. That's, so I could see him definitely going top 10 as well. I think your best fit is the Chargers, or like where would you like to see him go most?
That's
you own
that's
him
the dream.
right now. Where do you want to see him as a fantasy manager?
I want to see him with Justin Herbert. Like that's what I want to see, because if he goes to the Jets, who I paired Odunze with, like we can talk about that later. But like Aaron Rodgers is old, so like you don't get that for a long time. Like he could literally be with Herbert for a decade. Like theoretically, that's entirely a range possibility.
Are you choosing the Chargers based on the longer outcome that eventually he's going to take over and just have long-term value with Herbert? Or are you doing this under the assumption that they're going to clean house and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are gone?
One of them, I expect them to move on from one of them. But also I have him going higher in the draft than I do Odunze. So like the Chargers fit better than say like pushing him to 10, because I think he's going to go a little bit earlier than 10. So I kind of moved him up a few spots to go to the Chargers. Otherwise, I would have put him like back range, like 9-10 range.
I like your Herbert one. My first gut was to say Tennessee, but I don't like Will Levis at quarterback. There's potential there, but Will Levis and Sam Howell are in the same boat for me. They could both be awesome. They could both be like Davis Mills 2.0. So, yeah, you're right, though. I see a lot of teams in the top 10 where, it's not a terrible landing spot. I don't know if there's any. I don't really want him to go to the Giants. There's 900 receivers there, and none of them are good. I don't really want him to go to the Patriots, but I don't think he goes that high anyways. Same with the Commanders. I don't really want him there. That's too high. I think he's falling somewhere in the range of, I think the Chargers are a good fit. I think 5's a little too high. That's why I've been saying either 7 to the Titans or 10 to the Jets. But
yeah, 100%.
We'll see.
Because those teams need tackles. So like Joe Alt could be the pick there, like at pick, right? So it depends on need and where the players go.
Yeah, you never know. Like there's all this. Like I thought last year with Detroit's pick when they traded back, I said, "Oh, they're trading back. They're going to take a defender," and then it was Jahmyr Gibbs. And don't get me wrong, it worked out, but it's not really your position in need. So some of these GMs, you can't predict them. So.
Nope.
All right, everyone. That concludes the rookie sneak peek for Malik Nabers, wide receiver at LSU. Check back tomorrow. I believe we have Brock Bowers tomorrow, but we got a little out of order prepping them. So check back. Could be Brock Bowers, could be Rome Odunze. One way or another, it's not a running back. So thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Fantasy Football Universe. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Like I said, if you'd like to see the written form of all these, as well as some of the other things we've got going on over there. All right, everyone, take care and have a great day.